Thank you for downloading the Flixters podcast. On this week's episode, HBO are currently working on a Harry Potter series.
Jodie Turner-Smith. Does that name ring a bell?
This is pretty much an action film based on a game. Literally, he's like a character.
Really good ones in there. The Rock. Man, that is a classic. So if you haven't heard about The Rock, oh my gosh, I don't know, where the hell have you been living? Under a rock maybe? I don't know. But stick around for Anniversary Corner.
I can't even stress it enough. It is really, really, really good. Even the way it started out.
There's an image of basically like a penis going into a vagina and spunk coming out. And it seriously, Devaldo is the craziest movie, man. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Flixters. Folks, thanks for joining us on today's episode. We've got a great one for you. We've got a review of Boss Level, which is a movie that we've seen. So stick around for that one, starring Frank, is it Grillo or Grillo? I never know with his name.
I think it's Grillo. He's Italian, so I think it's Grillo.
Grillo, right. Okay, so we've got Frank Grillo's movie starring Mel Gibson as well and like a few other people. We've got loads of great Anniversary Corner movies, Devaldo, man. You've put in some really good ones in there. The Rock, man, that is a classic. So if you haven't heard about The Rock, oh my gosh, I don't know, where the hell have you been living? Under a rock maybe? I don't know, but stick around for Anniversary Corner. And yeah, man, so we hope you enjoy the show. All right, okay, so before we get anywhere, let's do some shout outs, Devaldo.
Yeah, first shout out goes out to Adele Turner. Adele Turner has been a fan of the show for a few months now. And Adele, how is it going? Tell us what your favorite movies are. Tell us what your favorite shows are. I'm giving Adele Turner a shout out because, do you know what? She loves her Korean films. Literally, on Instagram, she's all about the Korean films and TV shows and all sorts. So yeah, I know anything. If it comes to any Korean releases, I'm pretty sure that she'll know even more than us. So Adele Turner, let us know what's going on. There's something called an uncanny encounter, or uncanny counter, I should say. I can't even speak today.
Is that on Netflix?
It's not out yet. I believe it's out soon. But Uncanny Counter is it's a crazy show about a noodle shop. There are people working in a noodle shop by day, but they're demon hunters by night.
Yeah. I've heard of this. And
they use special abilities to hunt down these, demons. So yeah, it seems like an interesting one. I'm pretty sure she's watched it. It's got an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. But Adele Turner, if you've watched it, do let us know what it's like. And let's chat. Yeah,
exactly. Let's chat. I mean, Adele, obviously, I love Korean movies. Deval, man, you love a good old Korean movie as well, man. Yeah, exactly.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to get onto that. Thanks, Adele. Keep it locked with us. And hopefully down the line, we've got a few Korean movies that we can speak about. Now, let's speak about movie news now. This one, Deval, this one popped up on the radar. Jodie Turner-Smith. Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, so she was in Queen and Slim. And she was also in Night Flyers. That was the sort of sci-fi show that was linked to George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, and that that went after like one season, didn't it? It didn't last long, did it?
It did, unfortunately. Yeah, it didn't really it didn't really cause any sort of stir in the TV world. So it's not the best show, but it was all right. It started off really well, but I think it kind of fizzled out.
Yeah,
but so she's due actually to star in the Witcher spin-off, Blood Origin. So yes, I think she's got quite a leading role as well. So it looks like this could be an interesting role for her. So far we've seen her, she's quite a good talent in Queen and Slim. That's the biggest thing I think I've seen her in. And she's really, really good in that. Literally 10 years ago she was she was a regular sort of person. I think she used to do a bit of modeling and stuff like that. I think she worked in a bank or something. And somehow she's turned it around big time. So yeah, she's gonna get one of her first leading roles now. So yeah, good on her.
That's brilliant. And this whole thing, this Witcher Blood Origin, this is set like 1,000 years before
Yeah.
Geralt or Rivia, right? Is that what it
Yes,
is?
that's right. Yeah, a lot of these origins, even the Game of Thrones ones that's going to be coming out soon, and like you just said with this one, they're all going sort of prequel, giving us a taste of what events occurred before the shows that we've all sort of come to love. So interesting, and that gives them more, I guess more free reins as to do something really different.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be interesting.
So
Yes, I can't wait. And it's probably going to come out on Netflix, right?
yeah, this one's due to come out on Netflix. The actual date hasn't been sort of released yet, but from what I understand, we may see it at the end of the year. The first Witcher came out 2019 December, and this one could be coming out in 2021 in December. So we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see on that one. All right, okay, let's move on. Now, this one, Devout, I've always wondered, do you reckon how many of our listeners, right, are Harry Potter fans? Like, seriously, have you ever thought about that? I know for a fact you're not a Harry Potter fan. You haven't seen the movies, have you?
Nah.
Exactly. But listen, those movies, seriously, if you look on the kind of like, I don't know, the top 10 lists of billion-dollar movies, I'm pretty sure one of those movies, there's about 8 of them anyway. One of them's probably been on there. I think like the 6 and 7 or 7 or 8 or whatever it was, they did really, really well. But listen, this whole franchise is big. It's Warner Brothers, aka HBO. What's going on? Are we going to see any more Harry Potter like movies or what?
Yeah, I mean, this is quite sort of a surprise for me. But yeah, HBO are currently working on a Harry Potter series. I mean, yeah, I don't know how this is going to work. I mean, HBO and obviously Warner Brothers are, they've got an agreement. So a lot of the sort of online shows are coming out on HBO Max or HBO. But yeah, this is going to be, I believe it's going to be the events that happen after, I think, the movies that we've seen.
Right.
So I'm not sure how much of an involvement, Daniel Radcliffe and, Emma, what's her name? And then the other guy,
Watson.
the redhead guy. Yeah, Emma Watson, and then the redhead guy is going to be involved. So I actually, so far, the news is really scarce on this one. But all I know is that it's been greenlit. And for the Harry Potter fans out there, I mean, I know how Harry Potter's a big world and a lot can go on. So I think if they're going to do this, they should probably do it so that the characters are all new and allow someone, some different characters to be explored and not lean too much on the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a show that will definitely get people to subscribe to the HBO Max service. Seriously, the Harry Potter fans devout. Oh my gosh, man, they're crazy. I mean, I like the movies, but I'm not like fanatical or I don't have like the gown and like all that shit. Like do you know what I'm saying? Like these people out there, they buy the gowns and the broomsticks or whatnot, man.
Is there a Harry Potter theme park or theme place in not far from where I live? Actually, the Warner Brothers Studios. Yeah, it's near Watford. For guys that are not in the UK, this is like sort of northwest of London, just on the outskirts.
Yeah,
and they've got a Harry Potter like studio tour and stuff like that. So it's big. It's big stuff. It's big stuff.
Huge, big stuff. Yeah. So, and keeping it with HBO Max, I mean, there's other kind of franchises that they're working on, like, and we've already mentioned Game of Thrones. So, what's going on there?
Yeah, again, Game of Thrones, HBO Max animated series. So this is quite interesting actually, because we all love Game of Thrones, or most people do. But obviously, the way it ended, a lot of people were quite upset. But like I said, the House of the Dragon's coming out before. That's coming out and sometime in the future. We're going to get another prequel coming out as well, Dunk and Egg, and we're going to get an animation. So this will give them a lot more flexibility to do things that they may not be able to do, in live action. I'm not sure how many episodes it's going to be. Maybe about 10, perhaps, or 8. So interesting, yeah. And so far, not sure on what timeline it will occur. So again, this is very, very fresh, hot off the press here. So once we find out more information, we'll let you know.
Defo. I mean, I love a good animated series. All right. Okay. Talking about animation, do you remember this?
What you got?
Dusk Till Dawn, the Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino movie starring George Clooney and I forgot what was the other name. Juliette Lewis, I think her name was, and then the old guy,
and
Harvey
Keitel.
Keitel. Well, check this out. Apparently, Robert Rodriguez, because he and Quentin Tarantino, they hold the film rights to Dusk Till Dawn, and there's kind of like this whole franchise thing going on over there. Apparently, he is working on an animated Dusk Till Dawn TV show. Can you believe that?
Oh, serious?
An animated Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, yeah, no, I don't know. I do believe it because, well, I have to because you just said it. but no, because there was a TV series. Dusk Till
Yes,
Dawn.
there was. Yeah.
I think they had about 2 or 3 seasons, and it wasn't all that bad. So I guess the next step is to animation. So that's I hope it'll be good.
I watched one of his movies just recently. It was on Netflix. It's a kiddies movie. It's called We Can Be Heroes, and Pedro Pascal, he popped into that one. It's not good.
Your mate
Pedro, man, he popped into that one, and then I was just like, shit, yeah, man. Robert Rodriguez, Sin City, Dusk Till Dawn. This guy's got some good movies here and there, man. He needs to keep making them. So if you like vampires, man, bring it on. I mean, I do. Yeah, so that was
until you meet one
that is succubus. All right, okay, now let's speak about this Justice League. This has been on our movie news for pretty much like the whole of the past year. It's in and out, talking about Zack Snyder and Justice League and about Ray Fisher and all that sort of stuff. Well, finally, Justice League is going to be hitting the small screen on March the 13th on HBO Max.
Is that a fact? Okay, that's good. Because that means then 2 weeks later, I think just over 2 weeks later, I think March the 30th or March 31st, we're going to have Godzilla. So they're keeping it fresh. And then we've got so much in March. We've got Winter Soldier and Falcon. Damn, March is a good month.
Big month. And I just want to kind of rewind what I just said there. It's not March the 13th. It's March the 18th, by the way.
Okay, that's all right. I don't mind waiting an extra 5 days.
Exactly. So he tweeted. So our mate Zach, he tweeted out saying, "Listen, get ready, guys. March the 18th. Book it in your diaries because the Snyder cut is going to be out there, and it's longer. They filmed additional scenes." But check this out, there's not going to be any extra scenes with Wonder Woman because she didn't come back.
What?
She didn't come back for any reshoots.
No.
Yes.
I thought she
no,
did.
she did not.
No. Oh, come on.
I know. I want to hear that. I want to hear that music again.
I love her music. Oh man, disappointed in that.
So we'll see what they cook up, and obviously, it's going to be long. It's going to be added extra kind of like bits here and there, but we'll see what they do with it. I mean, they pumped a lot of money into it, so we'll see what goes on. All right, okay. Talking about sequels, Cloverfield, Devaldo. What's going on there?
Yeah, J.J. Abrams. So it looks like HBO Max and Warner Brothers and stuff are doing some work. I mean. Oh, I think, actually, I'm not sure if Cloverfield's Warner Brothers. Forget I said that. But J.J. Abrams is going to come back and write and direct Cloverfield 2. And from what I understand, it's not going to be a found footage sort of film. I know you're thinking, Cloverfield 2, didn't we get that one in space? So this is going to be a direct sequel to the Cloverfield original movie. So that's why they're calling it Cloverfield 2, because the other one was a Cloverfield Paradox, which was... I think it was actually a prequel of some sort. I don't know what time it was, but yeah, so this one's going to be a direct sequel, no found footage. It's going to be straight up like, feature sort of movie, expensive cameras, all that kind of shit. So yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. It might not be, but there's only one way to find out. So we'll have to wait and see when that comes out. Probably in the next year or year and a half or so, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I quite liked Cloverfield Lane. That was pretty good. So
that's the best one for me. That's a really good film.
Good, claustrophobic,
really good film.
Kind of, and that's part of the whole Cloverfield universe, isn't it?
Yeah. It fits right in. It literally happens on the timeline. That one happens, I think, just as Cloverfield 1 is happening too, but they're quite far removed. And they, what's his name? John Goodman's character. He's heard things. He's been preparing for things, and then when it blows up in New York. then that's when he sort of goes down the bunker and stuff. So it's happening actually simultaneously. That's a really good film, I like that one.
I know, it is really good. People should watch that one. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. All right, let's speak about delays again. Obviously, this is it's not even post-pandemic because pandemic's still going on. But listen, there's more delays. And this is a big one because everyone is gagging. Listen, I'm waiting for this movie. I've heard a lot about it. I've seen kind of clips here and there, and we've seen all the trailers. But Black Widow, Deval, come on, what's going on with this?
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, Black Widow is going to be delayed again. But there's also news that it might actually have to go on Disney Plus. Oh. Disney Plus has like a sort of premiere part of their platform where you can pay for special movies or shows or whatever it might be. Same thing happened with Mulan. In 2020, that was released on there, and people paid extra for it. I think it was quite a lot, about $30. I think because they understand that once you pay for it, a lot of people can watch it, so they charge premium. So I think it could be the same thing with this. The reason why they can't really delay it again, or maybe delay it too much, is because Marvel has started now. WandaVision started, and things have to happen now. Because Marvel overlaps and time frames and stuff like that. Events have to link, so they can't keep delaying it too much anymore. So we may see this in March on like a limited release, and then it might be on Disney Plus maybe the month after. Who knows? But it's going to be on Disney Plus. So if you've got Disney Plus, you're one step closer to watching it.
Exactly, and they're going to take a big hit, right? This means they're definitely going to take a big hit on this, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But I mean, what can they do now? They delayed it a year already. I mean, how much more can they do? And like I said, things need to happen now. They can't keep doing it. So that's where we are with Black Widow.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll keep you posted on all of this. Now, okay, this next piece of news, folks, I want you to take this with a pinch of salt because this is kind of like a leak. This is like a rumor. This is kind of like people working overdrive because, people, when they hear any new Spider-Man rumors, people go mad, right? So I'm going to kind of go through this. All right. So maybe some of this stuff you've already heard, Deval and whoever's listening, but check this out. So we know that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be playing a role in Spider-Man 3. He's going to be kind of like a bit of a mentor to Peter Parker now. You may have already heard that Tobey Maguire. There's a rumor that Tobey Maguire is going to come back. You may have even heard that Andrew Garfield might be turning back. We know that Electro, aka Jamie Foxx, is going to be in the movie. You might have already even heard about Alfred Molina is coming back as Doc Ock. And Zendaya, she recently kind of was talking about Alfred Molina on some TV show. And she said, she said some great things about him. And that kind of just confirmed the whole thing. But there's also talk of Michael Keaton's Vulture turning up in there. Yep. Thomas Hayden as Sandman. Jake Gyllenhaal coming back, but check this out, Tom Hardy and Morbius appearing in it as well.
Are you serious? Okay.
This is a lot of plot leaks, man. Okay. So basically, the plot leak is this, that apparently Peter Parker, the Tom Holland, he is going to team up with the other Peter Parkers and they are going to take down 3 major villains.
Okay. This is going to get... Ooh, if you don't like spiders, stay away from this film, guys. You're going to get a lot of spiders.
Exactly, and then on top of that, obviously you've got the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, all that sort of kind of multiverse stuff going on over there. So I think they are really planning to go out on a massive bang. And, obviously, because this is after this Spider-Man 3, we know that Tom Holland is going to be appearing in possibly another Avengers movie or another kind of thing. But beyond that, we don't know if he's coming back for more, right?
No, we don't know yet. I mean, with Marvel these days, who knows? I mean, I also heard that Doctor Strange might show up in WandaVision. I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, we just don't know until we see it on the screen.
Exactly. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for any other kind of Spider-Man 3 leaks, folks. So, on to other news, though. Tomb Raider, the reboot. Devaldo, do you remember what we made of the reboot? Because I know we watched this.
Yeah, I watched it and it was okay. It wasn't great. It was just okay. It was entertaining. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the ending, do you remember the ending when she picks up the 2 guns and then it was just like, but what's going on?
Yeah, so they are doing another reboot. Well, not another reboot, a sequel actually to that movie that we saw with Alicia Vikander. Is that her name?
Yes, yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, Misha Green, she's a really good director, actually. She's done a lot of work on Lovecraft Country. She's going to be directing this film. So, yeah, looks like it could be an interesting one. She's also been involved in stuff like Spartacus. Remember Spartacus? 10 to the wound.
Yeah.
And she's been involved in Underground, which is on Netflix. So she's one of those up-and-coming directors that I wouldn't be surprised if in the future we see her directing a Marvel movie. So keep your eyes on Misha Green. So, yeah, that's the news.
I want to ask you, do you remember Buck Rogers? Exactly. That was the sound that I was waiting for. Oh my gosh, man. That's like anyone who listens to that little bit, right, is going to be thinking we're crazy. But Buck Rogers in the 25th century, that was a show, a US TV show that ran from, I think it was like the late 70s, like, to the early 80s. It was kind of like a couple of seasons. The big news is this, that George Clooney is apparently gonna be bringing Buck Rogers to the film screens. Clooney and his production house are looking to kind of like, bring Buck Rogers back into the 21st century for us. But yeah, this is going to be interesting because Buck Rogers, he's a classic character. People love him. He's got some weird kind of like robots in there, and he goes off onto these kind of like adventures, and there's a bit of a kind of like love interest in there. So yeah, it should be. I reckon he'd be pretty decent in it. Actually, I think
he'll be all right. I think he's done space before. We saw him in the Midnight. What do you call it? Midnight Sky. We've seen him in, with the one with what's the name? And she was lost in space or something.
Oh shit! We spoke about it as well.
We did, yeah. With Gravity. Sorry, in Gravity, we saw him. That was it. Yeah, Buck Rogers. I mean, the tale of a 21st century astronaut who comes out of a 500-year suspended animation, and he comes out in the future, 500 years in the future. I mean, that's more than Captain Steve Rogers did with 70 years. Imagine 500 years and you come back, and imagine the iPhones they'll have then. I mean, it's crazy.
Holographic shit, man.
Yeah, exactly. But then it'll be like COVID 76, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, man. Who knows? Gordon Bennett Duval. So Buck Rogers, great TV show. If you haven't seen it, go check it out online. And but check this out. Next piece of news. Okay, Paramount, the makers behind Top Gun Part 2, this big Tom Cruise vehicle from 1986 is just being made. Oh, actually, no, it's I think it's already made, and they're just waiting for it to kind of be released. But Apple TV, they put a bid in for it. And Paramount rejected it. They just turned around and said, no. Rejection, mate. And they're having none of it. So obviously, the question is, how much did they bid? Because apparently they offered $400 million for the rights to No Time to Die, Duval.
What? 400 mil?
And that got rejected.
A lot of iPhones.
That got rejected, mate. I mean, they were probably thinking. I mean, I guess it is a kind of like a big movie, isn't it? Like for obviously it's a Tom Cruise movie. All of his movies, they do really, really well. It's a movie from the 80s, so they're going to have all these kind of people pining for kind of like what it was like in the 80s and watching that movie. So I guess, man, they were in a big shout, but how much did Paramount want for it? Jeez, man.
Yeah, they want money, man. They know the value of it. So I think they're trying to hold it, they're trying to hold the price up high and see who can actually take a bite of it.
We'll see what happens. All right, okay, Devado. Yeah, we're going to end movie news on a bit of a sad note.
Yeah, so Cicely Tyson is passed away actually on the 28th of January, 96 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, sad loss of an icon in the entertainment industry, movie industry. She's been around for like years. Literally, she was born in 1924. She's done a lot of movies and lots of shows, lots of theatre, and she's quite renowned for portraying leading and strong black female characters in movies. And she it's reported that she really didn't want to portray the stereotypical characters that back in the day they wanted black people to play. So she reportedly lost a lot of work and stuff like that, and she refused roles that were the stereotype. So she's well renowned in the industry for being a strong character off camera as well as on camera as well. So yeah, so the Hollywood and obviously the rest of the entertainment world has been showing their respects for her. She was in The Help, which came out in 2011, which is 10 years ago. So one of these days you'll see that on our anniversary corner. She was in How to Get Away with Murder. She was in a few episodes there. She played, what's her name, Viola Davis's mother in that. She was a really good character in that. She was in House of Cards. She was in Roots, actually, as well, from back in the day. So she was in quite a lot of movies and TV. So yeah, so that's celebrating the life of Cecile Tyson.
Rest in peace. All right, okay, let's move on to Boxset watch list, folks. Actually, Deval, before we do this, can we just quickly spend a couple of minutes, whether or not people know this or not, but WandaVision is on Disney Plus, episode 4.
Say no more.
Oh my gosh, Duvaldo. It just kind of every single episode, they're teasing more and more and more, and we've got to find out exactly, where does Monica Rambeau, where does she fit in this whole little thing? How did she get into WandaVision's little world? And, we definitely know that Sword is now obviously in the whole mix. Man, it was just interesting just to see how the events played off. Kat Dennings' character from Thor, she turned up in this episode as well. If you haven't been watching it, watch it because it's getting better and better.
I can't even stress it enough. It is really, really, really good. Even the way it started out.
Yeah.
And, they showed us the sort of, when everyone was snapped back from Avengers Endgame, they showed us when people came back. Because so far, we've not seen that in the real world. We kind of saw, we saw people just were back. We didn't see them actually, sort of snap back. Interesting to see that, and then see that she had no recollection of the past 5 years. So it showed us that she's been away for 5 years. She hasn't aged. Everyone else has aged. The world's moved on. And this situation's happened. She's trying to deal with it because she's a big wig in the sword sort of department. Her mum, Maria Rambeau, she would have been the director. Obviously, she's not around anymore. She's passed away in those 5 years. But it was good to see the events of WandaVision happening in the sword perspective, to see how they and I guess the real world are dealing with it, and just how this world has been created. I think we're going to find out a lot more about the technicalities on how the Scarlet Witch has actually done this, and just how the vastness of the town that she is now she's now controlling. I heard it's about a 5-mile radius. It's quite a big space that she's controlling.
Exactly.
And it just goes to show how powerful she is. So the next 5 episodes are going to be great.
They're going to be great. There's one little thing I want to mention. There's a bit in the episode, spoiler, there's a bit in the episode where Vision, he's like, come on, let's get out of here. And there's a little cold moment where she's like, no, you know what, we're going to stay right over here. And it's just, so she's kind of controlling, we think that she's controlling things. Maybe there's someone else pulling her strings, we don't know. But there's a look in Vision's eyes where he's like, holy fuck, like, you know what, man, this is getting too weird, this is crazy. And it's like, he's getting scared as well, and he doesn't know exactly what's going on. So, oh man, this is going to get deep, folks. You need to watch it. All right, okay,
Definitely.
Sorry for that little ramble on there. Okay, Boxset watchlist about Netflix. They've got this new documentary, like TV show series out, and it's called I Am a Killer. Now, we've mentioned like similar shows like this, and we spoke about one a couple of weeks ago, which was a great kind of documentary on a serial killer in Los Angeles. But what's this one about?
Yeah, this one is a series of docu-series really, and it shows oh my gosh, they're very, very serious, facts of people that have committed murders and are either on death row or they're in prison on life sentences or long-term sentences, and it tells the actual story from their perspective. So the camera is fixed on this murderer, and they're being interviewed, you don't hear the interviewees' questions. You just hear them speaking about their, their life and I guess answering the question. Very, very intimate, very detailed. And the people they come across remorseful in some cases. Other cases, you can, I don't know, you kind of get the sense that maybe they're just saying it because they want to, they want leniency on their parole or something like that. But it's really, really, it's very, very, it's a very, very like hard hitting, very somber, very melancholic in some respects as well. It's just like when you're sitting there watching it and listening to what's happened, it's sad. That's the bottom line. But it's on Netflix. It's called I Am a Killer. There's 2 seasons. There's 8 episodes, I think, each season. And there's some really, really, really sort of, interesting cases there. So, give that a watch if you've got the stomach for it.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned death row just there. One of the things that annoyed me, I was absolutely pissed off about was, we watched the documentary on Richard Ramirez.
Yes.
The guy was on death row, and because of the way the legal system works in America, forgive me if I'm wrong, there's kind of like you can like appeals and all this shit goes on, right? The guy was on death row for years and years and years and years and years, and then the guy dies of cancer.
I know. He appealed and wasted time. Someone
Money
like
as
him.
Well.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, the Nightcrawler documentary on Netflix as well. But he was he was like devil worshipping, all kinds of shit. He'd done the worst stuff. Someone like him, as soon as he's banged up, like as soon as it's done and dusted, throw him in not even lethal injection, nothing too peaceful. Put him in that chair and fry his ass.
Exactly. No, seriously, there's no joke. I know this sounds controversial, whatever, but come on, man. This guy, he caused untold misery and pain and like fear in people's lives, man.
Mate,
exactly. All right. Okay. Listen.
Ass.
Exactly. Fry it and flipping toss it away, man. All right. Okay. Now let's speak about Anniversary Corner. We've got some great movies for you and nice little kind of theme running throughout these movies. If you know what the theme is, obviously get in touch with us and let us know if you've seen any of these movies. But the first one to kick off Anniversary Corner, this is from 10 years ago. So 2011. Do you remember 2011? This is In Time. So this is the one from DeValdo. This is, what's his name? The singer.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, Justin Trouser Snake. So this is the one where I think, if I remember this correctly, everyone has kind of like a countdown, a clock. The clock is counting down to when they're going to die. Everyone knows when they're going to die.
Yeah, that's it. So it's a future where people stop aging at 25, but are engineered to live only for one more year. So they die young, really.
Wow.
But it's a weird one. So it's just Timberland. I always get them mixed up. Justin Timberlake. Yeah, so Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
He, I think Amanda Seyfried. I think her character is. I think they're kind of similar ages. But is she his mum or something? She's not, is she? No, it's Olivia Wilde. So sorry, Olivia Wilde is Justin Timberlake's mum. But then she doesn't look too much older than him. It's a weird one, really weird. But people want their freedom. People want to, live and live old and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those science fiction movies that sort of play on morality, a bit like Gattaca, when they're sort of I guess looking at making the perfect human and sort of engineering and stuff like that, playing God.
Well, it's the same director.
Is it the same director? Don't say that. Don't say that.
Same director,
you're
man.
Joking. You see? Yeah. Look at that. Look at that.
It's great.
Oh my gosh. Truman Show as well. Oh, this director really likes to play on sort of society, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Right and wrong and stuff like that. Okay. And Lord of War. Okay. Lord of War, Nicolas Cage. That's another one. That's a good one. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So the movie done really well at the box office, actually. And one of the things that I was surprised about was I thought, Justin Timberlake, really, he's a singer. Is he going to be good at acting? You know what? He's actually not bad. Like, if I'm being honest, because sometimes you get people where they're artists in their own right in another field, and then they get into acting and stuff, and are they going to come across as kind of like, good actors and stuff? And you know what? He's actually not bad. I mean, I've got to say, and it's this kind of... The film director Andrew Niccol, he's got this kind of thing, obviously, with time and about where people fit in society, and I think a lot of his movies, they deal with this kind of class system as well, with obviously the rich people have more time, the lower class people have less time, and there's kind of like this rich and poor divide. So there's a lot of that going on in the movie as well. So it's interesting, interesting premise. If you like a sci-fi, oh my god, it should be. Don't waste no time, watch it.
Yeah. Decent film, you're right. Decent. Next, we got 2006, Dead or Alive. So some of these films sort of matched one of the films we're going to talk about in the main film review. First one was about time, and then this one's a video game. So Dead or Alive came out in 2006. It's sort of I guess a video game iteration of a movie, really. And that was a fighting movie, a bit like Tekken, a bit like Virtual Fighter. And this one is about what's called DOA, Dead or Alive, and just literally about like Tekken, basically. So the world's finest fighters are invited to a Dead or Alive tournament where they sort of fight. It's the clues in the name. So you fight until you're dead, or if you're alive, you get to the end, you win the prize, and Bob's your uncle, really. So there's not much to it. This kind of bombed when it came out in cinema. Sort of 4.8 on IMDb. Many people sort of cussed it and said it wasn't really that good. The cast was okay-ish. I had the girl from what do you call it? From Sin City, the Asian girl from Sin City who was sort of good with a knife. Yeah, it was. It didn't really do too well, to be honest. So we can kind of leave that one there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, leave it where it is, mate. All right, next one again kind of ties in with a bit of a game franchise going on, and we spoke about it previously. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, 20 years ago, 2001, and I thought it was an interesting choice at the time, Devaldo, bringing in Angelina Jolie. I mean, she's obviously, the character is a kick-ass. She's badass. She goes off on these like huge adventures, and I can't remember if this did really well though. I'm just trying to think. Where again, it's one of those movies based on a game, but I'm not sure if it did well.
Yeah, it kind of. I think it did kind of do well when it came out, because in those days, I mean, this wasn't like a regular thing like it is now. And now you get a lot of computer games or video games that are made into movies. But then I think do we even have Doom by then? I don't think Doom came out by then.
I think that was about 2004, 5 or something.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah, so this was early in the game. But so Angelina Jolie, and is John Voight her dad in real life?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he's in it as well. We got Ian Glenn, who plays, what's his name in Game of Thrones? I can't remember his name now in Game of Thrones.
But
yeah, we've got...
Flipping Sejora.
Sejora Mormont. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, Sejora Mormont. Great memory. Daniel Craig's in this one as well. This is a pre-Bond Daniel Craig. So so this film done okay in the box office. She does look the part. I'm not going to lie. She does look like Lara Croft in the video game. Obviously, Lara Croft is busty. Yeah, she wears those short shorts. She got the double gun going on there. The hair, the ponytail, the physique. She does do a good job looking like the part. But I was never a fan of the game anyway, so I didn't rush to go and see this one. If you are, obviously go ahead. We mentioned Misha Green is going to be directing the Tomb Raider sequel with Alicia Vikander, I think her name is. So let's see what happens in 2022. I believe that one's coming out.
Wow, yeah, the story continues. Okay, let's speak about this one from 25 years ago. This is The Rock, and man, this is a great movie. It's one of those movies where you kind of don't have to think too much about it. You just put this movie on, maybe you're having a bit of takeaway, you're having a few beers or whatever it is that you're doing. And you'll have a great time watching this, because it's got Nicolas Cage doing Nicolas Cage, and it's got an ex-Bond, Sean Connery. It was late in the game for him where he was like, I'm too old for this shit type of thing. And they roped him in. I think it was like Michael Bay and Nicolas Cage. They begged him, please come back and do this movie. And you know what? I had a great time watching the movie, man. It was decent back in '96 anyway. I can't remember I don't know what it would be like watching it again now.
But it probably will be just as fun, It's got Tony Todd, Candyman is in it.
Yes.
And it's also got our friend, Bokeem Woodbine.
Oh my gosh.
He's in the Tupac video I keep talking about. I get mad at you. But yeah, look at Nicolas Cage, Ed Harris is in it as well. And it's an action film it's an action film, and that's what you're going to get in it. 7.4 on IMDb.
Yep.
About a chemist, an ex-con who's leading a counter-strike when a rogue military group are trying to sort of let off a chemical bomb, really. So yeah, there's conflict, and this is like Alcatraz is involved, and it's quite scenic and all that kind of stuff. Michael Bay's, swinging cameras and models in the background or whatever it might be. You're going to get what you're going to get with Michael Bay. So,
and listen, I didn't know this. I just basically just typed this in right now. This just came up. Apparently, Quentin Tarantino is an uncredited writer on The Rock.
Is it?
Oh my gosh.
Uncredited. Wow, okay.
Uncredited. So there you go. I mean, that makes it even more interesting. Check out if you can pinpoint or see where kind of like Tarantino might have had his fingers all over it a little bit. But yeah, man, it's a great movie. It's fun. It's dumb. Leave a brain at the door, and you know what you'll know exactly what you'll get with this one. All right, okay. Last movie on Anniversary Corner, 30 years ago, The Guyver.
The Guyver. So yeah, this one actually stars Luke Skywalker as Max Reed.
Oh my gosh!
Can you believe it? Luke Skywalker, 1991. Yeah, so this one is about a young man who discovers a mechanical device that merges with his body, turning him into a cyborg superhero when strange creatures start appearing and trying to take the device back. He begins to uncover a secret plot to genetically engineer terrifying monsters. So this is kind of like, it's just like, man and machine, power extreme.
Basically, there it is, man and machine. There you go.
Yeah, literally. So there's lots of monsters in this. It's like him getting mechanical, getting superpowers. It's funny. I saw this film years ago. I think there was a cartoon of it as well that came out years ago, and I used to record it like a manga type cartoon. But The Guyver is one of those films that you got to watch once in your life, man. I mean, watching Luke Skywalker do this is different.
Yeah, man. I know, that's weird. Because obviously there was this whole thing, well, for me anyway, after Star Wars, there was this thing like, what happened to Mark Hamill after Star Wars?
Yeah, I guess he was typecast as being a Jedi, maybe. And, sometimes a big role can kind of put you in a box. So, but yeah, I mean, he's done really great work with like the Joker and DC animation and other bits and bobs. So, his legend lives on. Obviously, we saw him again in Star Wars. So, I'm sure we'll see him again. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right. Okay. This leads us nicely onto our film review this week, folks. And we really hope you do go out I hope you go out and watch this one because I think you'll have a great time watching it. So this movie is called Boss Level. And for the keen listeners out there, I actually mentioned this movie on last week's episode. And I said, look, there's this movie. Oh, actually, did I mention it on the show or did I mention it to you after the show, Deval? I can't remember.
I think you briefly might have mentioned it on the show. And I think we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it this week. So here it is. Yeah.
Here it is. All right. Okay. So the movie stars Frank Grillo, Mel Gibson, Annabelle Wallis. It stars Michelle Yeoh and Naomi Watts. And the thing is, right, I was watching the movie and I thought, Naomi Watts, hang on a second, isn't this a bit lowbrow for her?
Do you know what? I think, I know we're jumping ahead a bit, but Frank Grillo also was a producer, which I think he's got a bit of Hollywood power to get these names on the cast list. I think that's how we got some of these actors on here. Mel Gibson, even Michelle Yeoh. I mean, we got Ken Jeong here from from Hangover. I think he pulled a few strings. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's directed by a guy called Joe Carnahan. So, and if you're obviously fans of him, you'll know him from The Grey, which is a great movie starring Liam Neeson, Smoking Aces, The A-Team, and from
which Frank Grillo was in as well. Frank Grillo was in The Grey as well.
Exactly,
and then the A-Team, one of the guys in the movie with we'll talk about it a bit later. But one of the actors in the movie was in was in the 18 too. So it's like they're all coming back. You know, they're all
They're all
working
coming
together,
back.
these people.
Exactly. And Joe Carnahan, I know him because I watched a movie of his from 2002 called Narc, which is this great, gritty police drama. And yeah, man, if people can hunt that movie down, you will definitely enjoy it. But listen, we're here to speak about Boss Level. So this is a crazy, fun, action-packed movie. It's like the non-stop action in this movie. So basically Frank Grillo, he plays a special forces guy. He's retired. Somehow he gets caught up in this time loop where he has to live the same day every single time. And on this day, he gets killed by the craziest assassins you'll ever see on screen. And Joe Carnahan, the director, he's got this thing with Assassins Divider, because when I think back to Smoking Aces, that movie was about assassins as well.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. He's got this thing about kind of like law enforcement and about, you know, the good side and the bad side. But yeah, so basically the movie starts off with like, you know, with a bit of a narration where Frank Grillo, he's explaining to the audience exactly what the hell is going on. And the setups are mad, aren't they? Where, you know, he gets his head chopped off, he gets blown up, he gets spiked, you know, there's sword fighting involved, he gets shot like 100 different times, but every single time that he dies, it basically resets the same point. He wakes up in the morning and the whole thing starts all over again, and he's got to basically try and figure out why this is all happening and basically how to stop the loop from going on. But listen, I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's some bits in there which were kind of like, that bit doesn't make sense and that bit doesn't make sense. But you know what? It's one of those movies where you leave your brain at the door and you just go in for the ride. And Frank Grillo, Deval, I mean, this guy, they should be giving him more movies. He's good. I think he's really good.
He is. Have you seen his body?
Oh, man.
You know how old he is? I mean, he's 55, you know.
What?
He's 55 years old. If you see the way this guy looks in this film, like, he's in mad good shape, honestly. I was shocked. He's 55 years old. He'll be 56 in like 4 months.
Wow.
It's mad. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen him in, I ain't seen him in much, I'll be honest, but I didn't know he had this kind of range. He's quite funny in it. Yeah. He's an action man. He's got muscles everywhere, all over his body. And yeah, I think it was an interesting script. Like you've explained so well. It's like he's literally in this time loop. And within this time loop, he's narrating like things that he's done before, because he's done it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And at the end of every day, he might get 2 minutes longer because he's got further. But it reminds you very much of video games.
It does.
Which is why some of our anniversary corner movies were video games, because when you play a game, you press start, you do a level, and you might die, but then the next time you play it, you know what's going to happen. So you kind of, your learning improves, and you might get a bit further, then the next time a bit further, and a bit further. So this is pretty much an action film based on a game. Literally, he's like a character, and all the other characters in the movie, they've got no memory of what's happened before except for him. And yeah, it's very interesting. And even in the movie, there's a part where he goes to a video, like an arcade, and they're playing old school games, Street Fighter, and all those kind of games, 80s games, and even his kid in the movie, which is actually his real life son.
Oh shit!
That's his real life son. Yeah, the kid in the movie also likes retro games, from the 80s and stuff. So they put the games in right there, so you can see it, and you can relate to the fact that what he's living is almost, even though they kind of put a time travel spin on it, it's like a game. And even the sort of the text in the movies is like game-like. Some of the sound effects and some of the way people die and the weapons and stuff. It's all like a game. It's mad.
There's the actual beginning of the movie. In Street Fighter where you go and select your players. Even that bit, they even got it down to that bit as well. Like exactly like what it is like in Street Fighter for people who've played Street Fighter, where you kind of you're selecting your characters and stuff. So yeah, man, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought I wasn't going to kind of like enjoy it, but you know what? It's an okay movie to kind of put on to pass a bit of time. And like I said before, you're not gonna get like this isn't like, your, what would be like a highbrow, like, time travel movie that you would say is kind of like up there as one of the best ones, Deval?
One of the best ones. That's a hard question to.
Oh, I know.
Obviously recently we had Tenet, but obviously that
Yeah,
came out during the
Tenet.
pandemic.
Yeah.
We've had like obviously Terminator is technically a kind of time traveling kind of film, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's basically not obviously on those levels. It's kind of like it doesn't take itself too seriously because of the nature of it. And like you said, the way that in games, the way that people just die and the way that you can just kind of, kill people and then you die and then you come back, you play again. So it has that kind of that longevity to it. But yeah, man, I was kind of like, I enjoyed it. There's a bit in the movie where he has to track down, he goes into kind of like this cafe, this diner, and Michelle Yeoh's in there, and she just so happens to be a sword fighting master, and then he eventually tracks her down, and then she teaches him and everything. So I thought that all bit was all kind of good. There, he fights a sword, she's like a badass sword fighter. That was quite
a British
funny.
actress as well. Yeah,
Yeah, she is. So that was all quite funny. So the interactions that she has, Mel Gibson, I mean, he's still popping up, man. He's not giving up, despite all the shit that happened, behind the scenes with him. He's still getting jobs. People still want to see him. And you know what? We're going to see him very, very soon in Lethal Weapon 5. Give it kind of like probably like 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I was the same, 7. I was the same. And also in the film, you'll notice that there's everything he needs to progress is around him. He's got to figure it out, which is usually what happens in games. So yeah, definitely go and watch this one, guys. It's quite interesting. So
It is definitely interesting on that one. All right, okay. So Devado, what are we doing for time?
We've got one more, so you can choose. Do you want to do your hidden gem?
All right, let me do the hidden gem because I have been sitting on this hidden gem for God knows how many weeks now. So the movie that I'm going to speak about is Enter the Void. And the thing is, right, when I was ready to speak about this movie, I can't remember what our main movie, that was it. It was Soul. So I had this whole thing kind of like, lined up where we spoke about Soul and then we were going to speak about Enter the Void. But okay, I'm going to, in a nutshell, Enter the Void is this Gasper Noé movie, who's this French film director. He's made, he's made some really controversial movies in the past. He's made a movie he's made like a movie called Irreversible. And to this day, that's a movie.
That one.
Yes, to this day, I still have not seen that movie. And people, I mean, like, you got to go watch it because that movie is controversial. This movie is spoken in the same breath where, man, the plot is absolutely crazy. So the story is about this American, and he's living in Tokyo. He's basically a drug dealer. He's a drug addict, and he's going to meet someone to basically sell some drugs. So he goes over into this cafe and or this night bar or whatever, and then the person that he meets says to him, "I'm really, really sorry." And basically the police are after him. He runs into the toilet. He's like, shit, fuck, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? He starts throwing away all the drugs down the toilet, and boom, he gets shot. Then what happens, the movie basically takes place, his soul, his spirit, or whatever you want to call it, leaves his physical body and then starts floating. And then we follow exactly the lives of all the different people in his life and what they get up to. And it's the way it's filmed is from the sky looking down at all these people, and it just floats in. You see what's going on, his sister, the life of his sister, his friends, the people having sex. And when I mean people having sex, I mean this director, he's not afraid to go like to places where, like,
you sold me.
Man, I'm telling you, man, this guy, this film director, he loves being provocative, he loves being controversial. And you see, like, obviously sex, you see car crashes, you see this kind of repeated. It's so disorientating, Devaldo. Oh my gosh, man. I can't even sum it up. You either love this movie or you hate this movie, and I'm in the category of where not a lot of people have seen this movie, so that's why I'm putting it in the hidden gems. And I'm still wrapping my brains around it because it's just so psychedelic. It's like you're on this trip where you don't know what the hell's going on. What is the message behind it? The director went on record to say, why is it that death is so morbid and so kind of dark subject that people don't want to talk about, whereas it should be something that should be celebrated? We should kind of talk about death because, people's lives need to be celebrated. And this movie is that. It kind of, you follow the spirit and, you figure out who's trying to figure out exactly what is the meaning of life. And there's kind of like abortion, there's sex, there's an image of like, basically like a penis going into a vagina and spunk coming out. And seriously, Devaldo is the craziest movie, man. If you can hunt this movie down, like
I've been hunting it down while you've been talking.
Seriously,
I've already started the hunt.
It's unlike any movie that you'll ever see in your life, and that's all down to this French film director called Gasper Noé, because his movies are made to elicit a response from the audience, well, oh my gosh, man, you're gonna have a mad time watching this movie, and it's definitely a hidden gem because I hadn't heard about it and people were talking about it, and it fits into this whole kind of idea of what happens to the soul what happens to you after you die. Does it go to this netherworld like we spoke about in Soul? Is this some sort of is this some sort of purgatory? Or, is this, does our spirit wander around waiting? Does it stay behind? Does it, what does it do? And this movie looks at that.
Man. Big questions.
Huge, deep movie, very visual. You're going to love the visuals of this movie, the colors, the director. He goes back and forth, and he goes back to kind of certain things that going on these characters' lives and stuff. And basically hitting you on the head with stuff. And is it there to remind us that life is like, made up of small little memories, and then at the end of it, it's just nothing? Or is it more than that? I don't know. It's something that you have to figure out.
So Irreversible, and it's I think available on Amazon, I believe, or other places. I'm sure you can get it on Rakuten.
Yeah.
And if you want to win your Rakuten movie voucher code this week, just let us know a hidden gem, and we'll send that code to you ASAP.
ASAP. All right. Okay. I mean, now we're definitely out of time.
Hidden gem.
Great hidden gem. Go watch it. Go check it out, folks. If you do watch it, please do let us know what you think about it, or any movie that you've heard about on this TV show. And also, I've got one request. If you do listen to us on your favorite podcast player, and if you can write a review, we would absolutely love it if you did so.
Yep.
So, that's it from me.
Rakuten movie code as well.
Yes, exactly.
Nice
All right,
one.
there you go.
Perfect. Well, I guess we'll see you guys next week. Peace out. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just pop in the Flixters podcast.